This is a very strange looking guitar, and today we are going to have a quick look into what this actually is, who this is for, and whether you need one in your collection. Let's dive in. Before we go further, let's get one thing clear. The Hush 1 Pro is a silent guitar. It's made for a very specific kind of people, very specific guitarists. And if you're not sure whether that's something that's for you, stick around until the end of the video and hopefully by then you will know whether this is a good purchase decision. So let's rewind a little bit and look at what you actually get. Out of the case, you get everything you need really: strap, earphones, picks, cleaning cloth. To keep things compact, you also have these legs, they're metal little inserts that click into place. That helps with supporting the guitar where you have a good playing comfort. Anyway, these come off very easily, just a one-click sort of thing, as you can tell. It goes like that, click, done. So very quick mechanism. Apparently all the versions needed a hex key, so it sounds like Donner has listened to the feedback from their customers and made this one tool-free. And I've got to say, it makes for a great user experience. So playing this is very fun, it's insanely light and you get full access to the 20 frets, which feels a bit weird given how small and light this is. So you've obviously noticed there's no headstock, so your tuning pegs are near the bridge. And because of this, the tuning actually takes a bit more effort. So using your right hand for the peg and left hand picking like this, and then when you get to the middle, it's not very easy. Anyway, tuning stability is pretty good, so you don't have to do that very often. But just a detail, if I had to give a drawback, this probably would be one of them. But obviously you're saving so much space not having the headstock there, so it's probably a good compromise here. Controls are where it gets interesting. You have two rows of buttons. The first one towards you, the buttons are a bit more raised and very easy to access and manipulate. These four are the buttons you will use the most. And the second row on the top, they're much harder to actually operate, especially if you have big fingers, for two reasons. First, they recessed a little bit more, and there's that metal thing that kind of is in the way. The screen is small but pretty clear, and there's also a built-in tuner in there, so that's very convenient for you. This guitar is heavily built around electronics, which is powered by an internal battery. You can recharge that battery with the USB-C port there, so any USB-C cable that has power delivery will work, and it will give you about 8 hours of battery life, which I find is plenty of use for most scenarios. Before I talk about the plugged-in sound, I really wanted to address a question that I had myself before I actually received the guitar. And the question was, can you actually play this unplugged? And is there any point in doing this, basically? The answer is obviously yes, you can play unplugged. Now, it is very whisper quiet. It doesn't really project any sort of sound. There's no sound holes, there's no chamber of resonance. You can still play scales and fiddle around and do some exercises and things like that, but that's definitely not why you'd want to get this guitar. Obviously this was built so you can play with headphones, which I guess is the main intended use. You can also of course use it with a speaker or a PA system. There is standard guitar jack output for that, and by the way the headphone jack is on the top there. So when you plug it in, it definitely comes alive. It's got some really nice acoustic guitar emulations. And I have to say, I'm normally not a huge fan of the sound from any sort of acoustic, electroacoustic should I say, guitars when they plugged in, let alone one without chamber of resonance. But in that case, Donner did something very clever here. There's no sound hole, obviously, no traditional acoustic physics, as I said. It's all electronic modeling and it sounds shockingly legit. Like, I really like the sound coming out of these things. It's got some really rich and warm tones. And obviously, I'm gonna let you be the judge of that, but my opinion is that this is probably on par with mid-range electroacoustic guitars. When I say mid-range, I would say probably $300 to $600 electroacoustic guitar. If you plug those in, you probably get similar sort of sound. So I know a lot of acoustic guitar players, when they use a PA and they gig, they need to spend hundreds of dollars into acoustic emulators sometimes, to make the sound a bit fuller and richer. The difference is this is plug and play, so you're saving a bit of money on not having to buy some pedals and things like that. And it's also a more convenient solution. So this is, I think, the biggest selling point of this instrument is having those emulations built in, as well as having such a compact form factor, so you can just throw it, at the back of your car and not worry about it too much. So final thoughts, who is this for? I definitely think this is not for everyone. A lot of people won't need that instrument and that's completely fine. But if you're someone who wants a quiet practice option or a portable stage-ready option, or even I was thinking a backup, this could be a good backup option if you do a lot of stage and you only have one guitar. If you live in an apartment, you have flatmates, or if you travel a lot and you need to practice. But yeah, there's lots of options where this could work, but if you don't fall in any of these categories, you probably don't need that guitar. So you can pretty much think of the Hush One Pro as a second, very specialized instrument, not a one-size-fits-all guitar. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you bring something like this on your next trip, or would you use it live if you gig? I'll put some links in the description below if you are interested in checking it out. And if you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.